Hey there. I wanted to spend some time talking about how I developed this practice chat app. And in kind of on the way, I want to show you some of the ways that you can leverage AI to develop ideas, to kind of test things out, to kind of to work on how would I go from point A to point B. And there's a lot of cool tools right now that you can use to kind of help you get there without having a lot of knowledge about, for example, programming or LLMs in general. So let's start with an idea. So I have this idea that wouldn't it be cool if I could give my students, my master's students in social work, some kind of a way to practice their role-playing clinical skills without having to do it with me directly or set up a group meeting or something like that, sort of in addition to the class. Because currently what I do is I teach practice classes in clinical social work. So I teach all these counseling skills, and I meet with every student and we do simulated client role plays where I play a client and the student acts as the therapist, and they have to do an assessment. So, these are really helpful. I think they're a great way to teach, but there's only so much of my time that I can use for every student. So how about if I come up with a way that they can practice some of those mini skills like paraphrasing and open-ended questions and assessment and all the stuff you might practice in kind of a counseling practice. So that was my idea. It's like something like an assistant, a helper who would kind of help students practice these things without, it could be at 2 a.m., and they just want to practice. So that was the general idea. And, this was last year, and I was kind of thinking about this because large language models had just become a real thing. And so the first thing I wanted to do is just test, even if this was a possibility. So I started, I start with this idea, and I kind of think about the idea, and I think, I'm trying to develop this idea, and what I want to do is just see if this is even possible. So I'm going to just do some testing. And a really cool place to start with that is this this Google product called Google AI Studio. And you can just find this, just look that up. It's free. It's a really cool option for just kind of like brainstorming and thinking about like, is this even possible? And so I'm going to show you kind of how I can develop that in Google AI Studio. Okay, so now I'm going to try and test out this idea. And I'm going to go to a website I found that is really a cool place to kind of workshop or think about ideas for LLM-based apps and just kind of to test out the capabilities. And it's called Google AI Studio. And you can just type that in and go to their website. This is completely free. And it's just a place where you can kind of work on, is this idea even going to work? So what I'm going to do is just kind of show you some pieces of how I did this. So let's say, let's start with kind of thinking about how I'm going to do this. So it's got this chat prompt box here. So I could type anything I want into this. And I want you to see over here on the right, I could pick any one of their models, anything from the Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is the biggest, fanciest model that they have and can do everything. There's 2.5 Flash, which means it's a smaller version of the big model that is very fast in terms of its responsiveness. And then also they give you these little previews. And here's an even smaller version called Gemini Flashlight Preview. So these are big models. It's not like I can put these on my computer. Also, Gemini makes, or Google makes these models that they release out into the world to the public for free called Gemma. So there's Gemma 1 billion, really tiny. You could probably fit that on a cell phone. Gemma 4 billion, 12 billion, 27 billion. So all of these could fit on my desktop computer, and I could, fine tune them. I could work with them. So I can use this as a place to test these models with my idea. So I might just start first with the biggest model and just see, because I just want to see if this is even possible. So what was my idea? My idea is I want the LLM to play the role of a of somebody in distress, and I want to be able to talk to them. So let's just see if I can do this. And I'm going to look at some of these settings. You can change all of these settings for this model here. There's this first setting here called temperature. Temperature for an LLM is anywhere from 0 to 2. And this basically tells the model how creative or how outside the bounds to go when coming up with a response. So if I set it above 1, it's going to probably be more creative, come up with more unexpected responses, but it's also going to hallucinate and say some weird stuff. If I set it back to like a 0.4, 0.5, it's probably going to be more deterministic. It's going to answer just my exact question. It's not going to go outside the bounds. So I kind of got to decide what I want. So I'm going to just start with where it started, which was 1. The second thing here is there's this thing called thinking mode. Thinking mode is where it really thinks about your question and gives you a response. And that's a way to get a super accurate response, but it also takes a long time. Code execution, do I want it to actually write code for me? No, I don't want to do any of that stuff. Advanced settings down here. No, I'm just going to leave all that the same. Let's just try it out. I'm going to say, I want you to act, and I got to remember my prompting skills here, which are you should tell it the role, you should give it instructions of what you want it to do, you should think about constraints, what you don't want it to do, and any other information. So that's actually the RICE model. So what role? I want you to be an actor who is hired to help students practice clinical skills. You will act out a scenario, act out a role for students to interact with. Your role is of an 82-year-old woman who has lost her house in a landslide. Okay, so any constraints? Well, let's think about it. Only say the words, only output the words she would say. Okay, so I'm gonna use that as my starting prompt. Okay, run it. Let's just see if it can do this. It's thinking. This is experimental. It's refining the persona. So it's actually writing an entire persona. It's exploring the emotional depth. Goodness gracious. It's drafting the character's voice. This is what thinking is. It really thinks about your response. It's crafting the narrative. It's thinking about, okay, so here's what the output is. And look at this output. Voice is a bit shaky. She's looking past you, not really seeing you. It's all gone. This is very dramatic, and I'm not sure this is what I want. I want it just to be an interaction. This is almost acting as if it's like this really fancy, dramatic acting instructor who's really going overboard on it. So maybe not so great. Secondly, I don't want it to do all this thinking before it does. I just want it to do it. So maybe what I will do is I will choose, I will turn off the thinking mode. No, you can't turn off the thinking mode, okay? Well, I'm going to choose a non-thinking model. Like, how about Gemini 2.5 Flash? I said that was quicker and faster. And I can hear, you can see over here on the right, I can turn off the thinking mode. So I don't want that thinking. I just want it to respond. And let's try a new chat, clear chat. Let's try this again. Same thing. Okay, so this, I'm just kind of thinking about, oh, excuse me, dear, I didn't see you. It's just, okay, she said a lot of words, but, oh, this is more what I want. Okay. Are you hurt? Okay. Little choke, breath. Okay, this is it. This LLM is acting as this woman and responding. Okay, so this is exactly what I want. Okay, so it's possible this is a text type of role play. Awesome. Let's see. Okay, so now I know this can work, and if I pick a model that doesn't think, it's a lot quicker. It makes more sense. You know what I want to do? Something also you can do with this is you can actually test whether the voice-to-voice thing would work. So I'm going to try this version here called Stream. It's kind of cool. Stream real time. So I want to talk to Gemini. And let's see, I've got Gemini 2.5 Flash Preview. That's the model it's going to use. And output format is audio and text. And the voice is Zephyr. Bright, higher pitch, puck, youthful, lower middle. Okay, these are all different voices that I could use. What do I want? How about mature, middle pitch? I can't tell if these are going to be more female or more male, or does it matter? I'm going to say mature, middle pitch. Grab that. Gak crux. Okay. And now I'm going to add my same prompt. I'm going to run.
Oh, hello there. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me. It's been a difficult time for me, losing everything in that landslide. I'm still trying to make sense of it all. How can I help you today?
Well, I was wondering if you needed some help yourself. Oh, I have to turn on the mic. Allow while visiting the site. Allow this. Okay, how about this? I was wondering if you need help yourself.
Oh, that's very kind of you to ask. Yes, any help would be greatly appreciated. It's hard to start over at my age. I'm feeling quite overwhelmed, as you can imagine. Just having someone to talk to is a comfort. Is there anything specific you had in mind?
Well, I was wondering if you could use some help with finding a place to stay tonight.
Oh, that would be such a relief. I've been so worried about finding a safe place to sleep. Anything you can suggest would be a tremendous help. I'm feeling very lost right now,
Yeah, it sounds like this has been a huge event for you and all your neighbors. I just can't imagine what it's like going through that. But I'm here to kind of help you and kind of listen to kind of what you need right now.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot to have someone to talk.
All right, so that's pretty cool. So this has shown me that it is possible to have a voice-to-voice interaction, and it's possible to give it a scenario. It's possible to have it acted out. And there's more things I could be doing with this. If I go back to chat, I could be testing other models. I could be testing some of these small models. It'd be kind of interesting to see if 27 billion parameter model, which is something I could fit on my computer and fine tune and work with. It'd be really cool to see if I can fit, if 27 billion parameter model can actually provide the same kind of response. So let's just run that. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. It's kind of, again, it's got a lot of stage directing and it's too long. So as I'm kind of thinking about this, I'm realizing what I'm going to have to do is probably specifically tell the model, make your responses short, make them realistic, don't add stage direction. So those are all things I'm kind of thinking about. How am I going to add this to my prompt? Okay, so now, so that all looks possible. It looks like I can do it with a smaller model and it'll work. Another thing I can kind of workshop is, could I feed it some information like from a textbook and get some feedback? So I do happen to have a version of the psychological first aid textbook, so I'm just gonna hit the plus button here and upload a file. And the file I'm gonna upload is rapid PFA right here, and I'm gonna upload that, start creating media, blah 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 blah. Okay, acknowledge. So it's extracting it, it's chunking it up, and it's basically adding this to the context. So now please give me feedback on my clinical skills as an expert clinician using the uploaded document as a... Okay, so now I'm asking it to provide some feedback, and I'm wondering if it can do this if I just upload the that textbook, because that was another idea I had. So let's run that. No, internal failed to generate content. Please try again. Did not work. So I wonder if I kind of did this with one of the bigger models. So let's see. I'm going to go back to a bigger model, like Gemini 2.5 Flash. I don't want thinking mode. And let's try this again. Sometimes if you give a small model too much information, it runs out of room and it just gives you an error. Okay, well, here we go. Oh, nice. Look at this. Oh, it's giving me feedback. Overall impression, strength, practice presence. It's actually taking information from the perspective of a PFA provider, gauge whether the person is okay, great. Strength, area for clinician reflection. Oh, it's given me all this cool feedback. Okay. And this little workshop, this Google AI Studio, has shown me that this is all possible. So this is kind of a good start. And I've learned a few things. I've learned that voice-to-voice is possible. I've learned that I can get it to give me expert feedback based on something I upload. I've learned that I can use a smaller model, a Flash model, and still get effective responses. So I think this is all possible. So awesome. So after kind of getting ideas like, yeah, this could work and there's some pretty cool possibilities here, I then want to go into kind of really the nitty-gritty of what it would take to build an app. Because I want this to be an app. I want it to be available to students 24/7. And I'm kind of thinking of some ideas and I'm kind of workshopping this. And so what I do is I then use one of the big large language models to workshop this idea. And so it goes from testing to now workshopping the idea, thinking about what is really needed to make this happen. And so I'm going to show you kind of what went into that. All right, so we're at the stage of trying to figure out what is actually going to be needed to create this app. And again, I don't have any experience with developing an app or programming in Python or anything like that. I'm going to have to just figure it out. So where I'm going to start, I'm going to go to a big LLM. Like, let's just go to, for example, ChatGPT. You could do this with any of them. ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, Grok. You could use any of these. So here's my ChatGPT. It's good with all these to create a a Google sign-on using one of your Google accounts, and that way it'll remember stuff you've done. So here's what I'm going to do. What can I help with? Do I need to use any of these tools? I might want to, but for now I'm just going to ask it based on whatever model it's using. You can tell which model it's using by clicking up here in the upper left. It's going to use, I don't know what model it's used. It's probably going to just use its latest model. So here's what I'm going to ask. I want to develop an app that will use an LLM that will take on a role play as a client to help students develop their counseling skills. What kind of programming language should I use? What should I take into consideration in developing this app? Like, I really don't know. I'm just gonna ask. I want this app to be able to provide feedback to students as well as, let's just start with that. Feedback to students. Okay, let's just send that. See what it does. So this is going to be kind of a conversation where I'm just kind of trying to develop my ideas and I'm just trying to learn some stuff. Okay, so it's already telling me what I should be doing. Front-end user interface, web-based, use React. I don't even know what that is. Use Flutter, React, I don't even know what these things are, but it's giving me a start. It's giving me something that I can learn. It looks like for the front end, it's telling me I should use React, which means I'm going to have to use learn a whole new language called JavaScript or TypeScript. For the back end, it's saying use Node.js, which is JavaScript, or use Python. And it says excellent for integrating machine learning and AI models. Okay. Or Go Rust for high performance and scalability, more advanced. And then LLM integration, it's saying which you can use LangChain, which I don't know any of this stuff, but I'm learning it. Key features to consider. Okay. Okay. Empathy level, user dashboard. Oh, that's this. So this is actually a really good start so far. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to go and research some apps that might be out there already, or maybe see what's out there in the world and see if there's any versions of this or tutorials about how I would do this. But I've already learned a few things. I'm already sort of leaning towards I just want to learn one language. Is there a way to do this with only one programming language like Python? And I'm already learning some stuff. Front end is like the web-based part of it, and the back end is where all the thinking and logic and programming happens, like Python for both so I'm having a conversation. The front end and back end? Question mark. Okay, and he says you absolutely can use just Python. Okay. Okay, so front end would be Anvil or Streamlit, and the back end could be Fast API or Flask, which I think are types of Python. So Python only stack overview. A stack, as I'm learning, is is like all the little sub-programs that you use to make your app. So a stack is kind of the packages, etc., that you use. A database, which is a way of storing each session so it can have memory. So these are different kinds of databases. Okay. Anvil, Streamlit, PyScript, never heard of that. So I'm starting to kind of learn some things. What I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to pick one. And after doing some more research, then I kind of decided to go with something called Python and something called Gradio, which is just a package of Python. I want to learn as few extra things as I have to. So I've got a back end, I've got a front end. Back end is Python. Front end is going to be Gradio, which is just a package of Python. And I'm going to just start with that. Examples of tools and libraries. Oh, they've already given me an idea for the speech to text if adding voice input called Whisper. Gradio, that's where it's talking about for prototyping interfaces with AI. So I'm going to use Gradio. And then this thing called LangChain, which is for agent management. So I'm going to have to learn something about agents. So anyways, I'm talking with it. So now I've kind of learned a little bit about this by watching some videos, but what I'm going to ask it to do is develop a product requirements document. So this is just a really specific document for how all the pieces of this app develop. Let's see, I'm going to say write a product development document for an app like this that would use Python for the back end and Gradio for the front end. Add features that would be useful for students learning clinical skills. You see what I'm doing here? I'm just saying, hey, just add what you think would help. Give me some ideas. So it's going to develop this product development document. Okay, it's not a requirement. PDD, okay. Product overview, target users, conversational role play. Okay. Real time. So these are the things that it's going to need to have. Architecture, front end Gradio, back end. I'm starting to get an idea what I need. Some things I need to learn about. Okay, cool. Tech stack. All the pieces I'm going to have to learn about. All right. Would you like a working prototype script? Okay, it's saying, hey, I'll just write the script for you. I mean, I could do that. Sure, write a simple Python script for a prototype. I mean, I know it can write code, so might as well just get started. Pip, okay, I gotta know how this all works. Pip install app, okay, export, import, okay, it's writing the code for me. Okay, so I think what I have to do, it's going to save all this information over here on the left, so I can come back to it. So I've got some code to start with if I wanted to. Just grab all this code and try it out. So it's written some initial code for me. I've got to go and learn about all this stuff. So here's the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, now that I've got an idea of what I'm going to need, I'm going to just do a little bit of extra research on this. So I want to do some deep research on what's out there in the world. Like, are there apps like this and what did they use? And resources for learning how to do this. Run deep research. Okay. See, I clicked down here under tools and I clicked research. So please, you don't have to say please, it doesn't care. Find resources that will help me learn how to use Python to create web apps. create chat-based web apps similar to what I am trying to build. So resources, books, look for YouTube, recent, I think I want recent YouTube videos, tutorials, books that could help me learn what I need to do this myself. How about that? Are you okay? It's asking more questions. I know how to do some programming, but should start from a beginner level. Okay, what was the second question? I want to use Gradio. And I want to learn about using both OpenAI and local LLM models. Maybe that's asking too much. So you see how this goes. I'm just kind of thinking, this is what I want to learn. This is what I want to think about. Tell me, what do I need, or what would help me get there? So it's going to take a while. It's going to do some deep research on this. But at least this will get me some resources to get me started. All right, so I'm going to stop for a second and just kind of let it do its thing. Okay, so that took about 5 minutes. It found 19 sources. It did a bunch of searches, read through everything. So here we go. It's found me some YouTube tutorials on Hugging Face and how to do Gradio and other YouTube guides. Okay, cool. Some blog posts. All right, this is going to be an awesome resource for me to get started. And so this is mostly about Gradio and Python. I think I would also like, it doesn't have to be deep research this time, but I would also like it to find me some resources for just for learning Python. Find some good resources for learning and using Python for a beginner, i.e. textbooks and tutorials. Okay, Python crash course, automate the boring stuff, head first Python. Okay, awesome. I can just go find these. I bet some of them are in the library. Online guides. Oh, there's going to be a lot of free stuff too. Online, Code Academy. I know that's for free. Here's the links. Oh, cool. Awesome. So I've now got a bunch of resources for learning Python. So, I'm going to take some time, kind of go through some of this stuff, read it, think about it, start learning it.